As a beginner, it can be overwhelming keeping track of all the requirements and information necessary to find viable products to sell. In this video, I've simplified the key points for doing product research into a list of do's and don'ts for you to follow. But first, my name is Crescent, and if this is our first time meeting, welcome to my channel. My passion is sharing tips and strategies on how you can create a successful Amazon FBA private label business. So if you enjoy videos like this, or especially if you've been around my channel, consider subscribing. All right, let's get started. Okay, like I said, I've broken down the key points of product research into two lists. A list of do's and a list of don'ts. Let's start with the do's. First, before you even start product research, you need to put together a plan. You need a plan so that ahead of time, you know what product research criteria you're aiming for. You need to figure out how much profit you realistically want to make every month so that you can break down that figure into a daily target and then further break it down into a profit margin per unit. This is critical to do product research efficiently. For example, if you're aiming to make $3,000 profit per month and a realistic profit margin per unit is $10, then you know that you need to find niches that sell an average of 10 units per day or 300 units per month. This leads to the next topic, that's having the right product research tools and understanding how to use them. A great place to get started is using a web app like the Jungle Scout web app. It has collected data on all the products in the Amazon marketplace so that you can easily filter through them. I'll leave a link in the description with a coupon for you if you decide to use it. Once you have a plan, you can enter specific criteria and filter the products that meet your specific targets. And again, for example, if you're looking to make $3,000 profit per month, then you can set the filters to only show products that sell at least 300 units per month. The additional criteria that you must be aware of is that you're looking for products that sell for at least $15 or higher. Anything less and your unit costs and Amazon fees will leave you little to no profit. Additionally, it's important to look for niches that have low competition. You can judge the level of competition based on the number of reviews, so make sure the products have less than 75 reviews. You can also see here that I've set the maximum weight to 2 pounds. It's important that you're aware of the size and weight of your product, as it will determine your Amazon fees, and the fee will increase dramatically if your product falls under the large or oversized tier. And therefore, if you're expecting to pay fees in the small size tier and your product ends up being oversized, this will drastically affect your profit. Now, once you perform the search, the Jungle Scout web app will pull up all the products that meet your specific search criteria. Here's where we're gonna look through the list of products to see if anything catches your eye. I find that it's the strange and obscure products that tend to do the best. For example, what are these 14 karat gold French earring hooks? Let's take a look. A mistake beginners often make is only looking at a single product. You need to analyze the entire niche, not individual products. So looking at these earring hooks, you need to determine what the shortest, broadest, and most relevant keyword phrase is that describes this product. And in this case, it's just earring hooks. It's important that you use the correct keyword when analyzing niches, otherwise you can be looking at incorrect data. So set this to all departments. It's important that you do that and do a search for earring hooks. Now we can analyze the data for the entire niche. To do that, I use another tool by Jungle Scout. It's a Chrome extension and it pulls all the data from the listings in the search results so that you can quickly and easily analyze niches to make sure they pass all of the product research criteria. So the first thing you want to look at is make sure that the price is at least $15. You can do that by looking down the price column and making sure that the majority of the listings are selling at $15 or higher. In this case, it's not. But let's continue anyways. You also need to make sure that the monthly sales volume meets your target sales volume. Again, if you're aiming for 300 units per month, then the majority of the listings here need to be selling at least 250 units or more per month. Otherwise, you won't be able to hit your monthly profit goal of $3,000 per month. In this case, it does. Now, you want to make sure that the competition is low. Looking at the review column, you need to make sure that at least 7 of the top 10 listings have less than 75 reviews. And in this case, it does. You also need to make sure you're not considering any sponsored ads. If you see listings here that say SP, then you need to remove those listings or turn off the sponsored ads in the settings. You only want to consider the organically ranked listings when analyzing niches. And lastly, while looking in this data window, you want to make sure that the niche isn't brand dominated, meaning you don't see one or more sellers taking up 3 or more positions. In those cases, certain brands are dominating the niche, meaning people are more willing to buy from those sellers, so other sellers will have difficulty gaining traction. Now that you've looked at these data points, it's important that all of the criteria pass. If any one or more fail to pass, then you need to move on to another product idea. In this case, for the earring hooks, all of them pass except for the price. So this is not a good product idea. Now, assuming you found a product where it does meet all the criteria, there's additional steps you need to take to confirm whether or not the product is viable. First, you need to make sure that the product isn't seasonal. You can check by doing a search on Google Trends. A seasonal product is one that only sells well during a certain part of the year. For example, if you take a look at pool floats, you can see that they only sell well during the summer months. Whereas if you take a look at LED bulbs, you can see that it's steady year-round. One thing I want to point out is that products that aren't seasonal can also exhibit seasonal looking graphs like a can opener. You can see that they appear to be seasonal and sell better during the winter months. However, this isn't the case. Can openers aren't seasonal. They just tend to be a giftable item, so they sell better during Q4, which is the holiday season. And along these lines, you need to be aware of the time of year where you're doing product research. For example, if you were looking at can openers in the winter, you'd see far higher sales volume in the Chrome extension. So you need to be conscious of the fact that after the holiday season, the sales volume will go back to normal. And it's these normal numbers that you need to be considering to determine if a product is viable and will meet your sales and profit targets. Now, the following 4 do's are entire topics on their own and have videos that cover each one independently. So if you want to learn more about them, I'll leave links to each one in the video description. First, you need to make sure the product isn't patented or trademarked. You can get yourself into a lot of legal trouble if you violate someone's intellectual property. So always do your due diligence here. Don't believe what a manufacturer tells you either. Hire a patent attorney if you have to. It can save you from making a huge mistake. Second, you also want to make sure you're aware of any potential product restrictions or if the product falls under a gated category. You need to be proactive here so that you know ahead of time if you can even sell the product or not, or if there are any requirements in order to sell it. The worst thing is investing in a product only to find out that you can't sell it at all, or you need to spend more money and time to get proper certifications or to get ungated. Third, just analyzing the data of a niche isn't enough nowadays. It's important that you're aware of the current market conditions. If a niche has a lot of new sellers, it's a good indication that it's becoming saturated. You can see the age of the listings by using a tool called Keepa. Or if you use the AMZ Scout Chrome extension, it shows you right in the data window here. And fourth, and most important of all, is knowing what your profit and fees are. The whole point of starting any business is to make money. And you need to know exactly what your profit and expenses are. This comes down to knowing where and how to calculate them. Again, I have videos on these last 4 topics that go into detail on them, which I'll leave links to in the video description. Now, the don'ts of product research. As a beginner, there's several things I recommend that you stay away from, at least until you have some experience selling on Amazon, as they'll lead to a lot of trouble, headaches, and potentially cost a lot of time and money to get around. The first has to do with the types of products. I don't recommend doing products that are breakable, electronics, products that have lots of moving parts or require assembly. This is because there's a lot of logistics involved in the manufacturing process that you'll need to be on top of to avoid broken or damaged products, products that fail or don't work properly, having missing pieces, or difficulty for the buyer to understand how to use. This will lead to poor reviews, a lot of returns, and you having to spend a lot of time providing tech support, especially for electronic items because they don't work or people don't know how to use it. Some things can be easily resolved, such as breakable items, by providing better packaging, but the other problem areas are far more difficult to mitigate. I also don't recommend doing products that require some sort of certification like FBA or CPC certifications. Not having the proper paperwork can stop you from selling altogether, and suppliers don't always know or aren't always truthful about having these certifications for the products they manufacture. If they don't have them, it can cost you a lot of money to get your product properly certified. This leads to the next type of products that Amazon deems as dangerous goods. These are products that can pose safety or health risks like food, lotions and creams, batteries, and magnets. You can see a comprehensive list of dangerous goods on Amazon's website here. Some will require special documentation to sell, warning labels, and require what's called a hazmat review, where you need to provide what's called an MSDS, which is a materials safety data sheet that describes the type of materials that are used in your product. If you can't provide this document or don't pass the review process, you won't be able to sell the product. I personally stay away from any type of product that goes in or on your body, like food or lotions or creams. I don't want to have any potential legal issues. Next, I recommend avoiding products with multiple variations as your first product. Offer variations can be a great way to differentiate. However, it will increase the amount of capital required and far more research to determine which variations are the best to offer. Additionally, inventory management can be a nightmare, especially if you don't do it right and end up with money tied up in inventory that isn't selling. Products such as clothing is something I stay away from due to this exact issue. And like electronics, clothing also has a very high return rate because people try them on and they don't like it or it doesn't fit. Last, avoid products that are fads like fidget spinners and squishies. I personally stay away from toys altogether. The level of competition is typically way too high, and fads and toys have short shelf lives. If you get in early, you can make a killing, but niches get saturated extremely fast and you can get stuck with inventory. The risk is simply too high. You can see on Google Trends exactly what I mean. If you got in the right time for fidget spinners, you could have made a killing, but as you can see here, interest fell drastically not long after. You can also see the same trend with squishies. And finally, a common occurrence amongst beginners is falling in love with a product idea. Definitely do not let this happen to you. This often happens when you've spent so much time on a product that you find reasons to move forward with it, despite when the market has turned and the data shows that it's no longer a good market. All too often, I see beginners getting caught up in a product idea simply because they've invested so much time and sometimes even money into a product. Never let your emotions get involved. Always let the data dictate which path to take. Just know that because you spent so much time on it, if the market has changed, your diligence saved you from getting into a bad product. All right, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, post them in the comments section below. And like I said earlier, some of the key points I mentioned require their own video altogether. And if you would like to learn more about them, you can find links to them in the video description below. All right, thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And to make sure you never miss a video, click that bell icon to turn on notifications. There's also a link in the description to our community forums, which you should totally join. And if you're looking for more tips and strategy videos, click or tap over here. And as always, thanks for watching.